Well, today's episode is going to be a lot more interesting and much funner for everybody. So, we're going to be reviewing Stardom's much recent events with the Triangle Derby, which, of course, will tell us who will be making it to the semifinals. This took place in Korakuen Hall, and a lot of things took place in that particular day. We also follow up with GCW's recent event, middle of the night, where we have, of course, the tag team titles and the GCW World Title on the line. We even got the grudge match between Alec Catch and Charles Mason, where none of the seconds are allowed to be in ringside. And also, we capping, and of course, our final review will be AEW Dark Elevation with 7 matches. I'm so excited to review all of them, see what matches took place. We even got, of course, our news updates to talk about. Um, we got tons of things we're going to be talking about, what updates in the world has been going on. And then finally, as you know, I mentioned before, there was the recent Stardom press conference regarding the Triangle Derby finals. As I mentioned, there's the four finalists involving in the semifinals, and of course we have some special matches and title matches that will be taking place. And I think that's pretty much it. What we're going to be doing, and then we'll go from there. So right now, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So welcome to the channel, boys and girls. If you guys are new to the channel, hope you guys enjoy every review I do. So right now we're going to start up with, of course, Stardom with the Triangle Derby in Korakuen Hall that took place recently on the 17th of February. Now our first match is a well, first things first, it opened up with an introduction of the 3 trainees, which I mentioned on the news updates. Those who are new to the channel, you probably ask yourself, what trainees? Well, they had 7 girls they were training. They were in the process of the protest to see if they will pass. 3 of them have already passed, and of course, they introduced themselves. We have one person who has interest in high speed, one who is tall as Lady C, and of course, another who has a black belt in karate and all that, but she also issued a challenge to Julia for her debut match, and of course, Julia accepted it. Now, our opening match is a non-triangle derby match. We have Oedo Tai, consistent of Keegan Def, Rina versus Queen's Quest, Mia Amasaki, Lady C versus Club Venus, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa, and then finally Mayhem, Micah, and Himeka of DDM. This is a very interesting matchup because, as you know, it does play an important part for Himeka. As you know, she's going to be retiring real soon. She announced her retirement not too long ago. I thought this match was pretty good because we have 3 women who are tall in this. We have, of course, Himeka, Lady C, and Mariah May, and of course, they have to deal with the more shortest person in the entire group, which is Fukigen Def. But one thing that led to this match was interesting is Mina Shirakawa had Lady C dead to right for a pinfall, but somehow they Mayhem were able to sneak up and steal the win from her. And of course, Himeka and Micah will take great pleasure in trying to make humiliation with her. Now, I wouldn't be surprised in down the line if Mina Shirakawa wins the white belt and drives Himeka and Micah jealous. When Himeka's gone, she's going to go crazy about that. But I know for a fact that there is some history between Mina and Himeka for a long time. There was a match they had last year for Fight to the Top where Himeka used one of Mina's moves on her, which was illegal in some ways, but got away with it. I wouldn't be surprised that Mina would get revenge for that particular loss and put her in her place. But we don't know when that will take place. Now, let's start with the Triangle Derby matches involving. First, we have this gold ship consistent of members of Oedo Tai, Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, and Saki Kashima, taking on Unique Glare consistent of Aruka Omasaki, who is a non-Oedo Tai member, taking on with her team Ruka and Starlight Kid, who are members of Oedo Tai. So there was like a showdown between Oedo Tai, but the one thing that was interesting is Unique Glare attacked Gold Ship from behind. A typical move that Oedo Tai does in certain aspects. They're only are here to win, and I think that tells us all exactly why. Now, would any of them make it to the finals? Apparently, it did not go exactly like that. But once again, there's a reason why Saki Kashima has been declared as she should be going for the high speed title when she applied the Kishikasi onto Ruka, giving them the win. However, neither team will make it all the way to the finals. Next team, we have Lollipop, consistent of Yuko Sakurai, Rina Amakura, both of them who are from Colors, and of course Waka Tsukiyama from Cosmic Angels, their allies. They take on the members of the Neo Stardom Army, consistent of 7 Up with Yuna Mizumori, Yu, and Nana Takahashi. I think this is one of the most good matches I like because people are behind Waka. They're hoping that she gets her first win. Now, keep in mind, Waka and Nana Takahashi will meet up again next month on the 25th at the New Blood Premium, which of course will determine whether Waka stays with the Cosmic Angels or does she has to go. That is the one thing. And it played out pretty well. I think it was a good match, but however, it was Yuna Mizumori with the Tropical Smasher pinning Waka to give her a win. However, it did announce that 7 Up advanced to the semifinals, so they're in, which is a good thing. But however, a little something was very interesting. I don't know if anybody caught that. Yuna Mizumori whispered something into Waka's ears. I don't know what that means. But there are those that talked about recently if Waka doesn't win her last match, that she should be able to go with 7 Up. And I mean, that is one of the strong possibilities, but we just don't know what exactly was that all about. So we know that she's been training with Mina recently. If you guys follow both of them on Twitter, recently Waka was training in Mina's MMA class or whatever she was doing, but it was pretty good. So we'll see about that. Now our next match, more with the Triangle Derby, we have Classmates, consistent of members of Stars, Saya Ida, Koguma, and um, Hazuki, taking on the members of Queen's Quest, um, Azumi, Utami Hayashida, and Saikama. I thought this match was pretty good because I think this match also opened another doorway for this one. It was Azuki who picked up the win when she applied the Brainbuster onto Saya Kamitani. Now, keep in mind, to me, I felt this match was more like a payback for what happened at the 5-Star Grand Prix last year. If you guys remember, in the beginning of the 5-Star Grand Prix, Azuki was undefeated until she lost to Saya Kamitani. Saya Kamitani was the one who pinned her and defeated her. However, now the roles are reversed. But however, Azuki was the one who picked up the win and issued win on Kamitani. However, in the post-match comments, she issued a challenge for the white belt. Now, I know some of you guys are very critical about this because some of you are questioning when is Mina Shirakawa going to challenge for the white belt. We know there's supposed to be a rematch. I mean, I know some of you haters out there don't believe that she should be the white belt champion. Well, I don't give a damn what you guys think, but she worked real hard last year. So, but we don't know exactly what this stands. I mean, I could do a little discussion about this at another time, but we'll find out soon enough exactly how this is going to play out, or we'll just take a wild, uneducated guess or play the scenario how it is. But unfortunately, Sayakami Tane accepted it, but I know for a fact she would want to make up for that particular loss that she just made now on this particular day. So we'll see. Next up, we got Rebel X Enemy, consisting of Maika Omasaki, Ram Kaicho, and Mayu Yuhiki, taking on the other members of Stars, consistent of H&M, Momokogo, Hanan, and Mayu Iwatani. Now, this is one of the most hardest teams you know. They're far more dangerous than any other group you probably would have mentioned. But in this case, it was the Zulala by Maya to Momo that allowed them to win the match. However, neither team ever made it to the final semifinals. Neither did the previous match that we did know. So it did not work. Now our next match we do have is Rampage GE, which is the God members of God's Eye, consistent of Mirai, Amisuri, and Suri, taking on the Cosmic Angels, consistent of Saki, Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano. This was a much important role for this match. Now, keep in mind, Tam doesn't have the best track record against Suri because she lost twice to her, one for the title, one at the Fox. However, that did not work. If things did well work out for the Cosmic Angels when Tam Nakano applied the violet screwdriver onto Ami Suri and picking up the win. However, at the post-match announcements, it was revealed that both Rampage, God's Eye, and the Cosmic Angels are involved in the advanced in the semifinals. So even though God's Eye lose the match, but they do advance into the semifinals, Cosmic Angels won, and this made a huge celebration for the Cosmic Angels. I mean, I know the Cosmic Angels have struggled to get back on track ever since. I don't think they haven't any titles since, or like since late 2021. But hopefully, we can see them win the artist belts. Now, our final match, our main event, we have the members of DDM, consistent of Body Body Bombers, um, Tekla, Masakurai, and Julia, taking on Prominence, their longtime rivals. Now, keep in mind, deep down, you know Julia wants Zuzu to side with her. It's like she thinks that sooner or later she's going to side with her, but Zuzu doesn't think that way. But it took a lot of strength for um, Kurume, who actually to deal with someone dangerous like Tekla. But in the end, in this particular match, it was of course um, Zuzu who picked up the win with the tequila shot onto Tekla. Now Tekla and Zuzu know each other pretty well from their Ice Ribbon days, and but as soon as this match was over, it was revealed now that Prominence are in the semifinals. Now keep in mind, if Prominence win the entire thing, they probably will pick the next challenger. However, their little post-match celebration was interrupted, but not in a bad way. Mayuhiki apologized to Prominence. If you guys remember clearly, in the much recent event that they had the previous week, Julia issued a challenge for the red belt to Mayuhiki because there's some deep hitting history between those two. Mayuhiki thought about it and she said, I'll do it because I don't even want to be here in the Stardom ring. Basically, she has issues. She says she hates Julia and Rossy Ogawa. However, that is explained in the press conference that I will be talking about at the end of this whole thing. That way, you guys can get a clear understanding why. However, Prominence, as you know, they were once the most hated group in Stardom because they're outsiders, but they have won the audience regardless of who they are. The fans love them. They see them as one of the toughest wrestlers ever. They don't back down. They don't quit. And I think that's what makes them good. So I think that's pretty much it with this. There was another Stardom event that took place 2 days later. I don't know when I'll be reviewing that, but I'll be doing that soon enough. But right now, let's move on with GCW. Okay, GCW in the middle of the night. This took place recently on the 18th of February at the Ukrainian Cultural Center in LA. Our opening match, we have a scramble match. We have Eli Everfly versus Jimmy Lloyd versus Starboy Charlie versus Alec Price versus Cold Roderick versus Tony Deppen. Now, in any scramble matches I mentioned, time and time again, anything could happen. I mean, we know there's some good competitors that could walk out as the winner. I mean, Jimmy Lloyd is one of those, had done it before, so does Cold Roderick, possibly Tony Deppen. But it was a pretty good match from what I can tell. But it was Tony Deppen, the biggest a-hole on the planet, with the running knee strike onto Jimmy Lloyd that allowed him to win. As you know, people don't like him, but he cannot deny his talent. So that's pretty much it what took place. Now, our next match, we have Nick Wayne versus Matt Cardona. I don't know what Matt Cardona's thinking. He's calling himself the indie god, the king of the death match. You know what I mean? For me, I think king of the death match is a stretch because he only won one match. The only king of the death matches I know of is freaking Nick Gage. But he has to deal with a prodigy. Of course, Nick Wayne. Now, you probably think Nick Wayne doesn't have the advantage. I have to say it was a pretty good match because it showed Nick Wayne. No, he is much younger, but he is a proud wrestler who is determined to show the world what he can do. But it took only a roll up onto Matt Cardona after he got share shot when he gave a share shot and missed and ricocheted on him, giving Nick Wayne the roll up, and he won the match. But of course, Cardona, being the biggest loser that he is, did not take it well. He was trying to beat him up, but Nick Wayne's tag partner and friend Jordan Oliver came out to help him, so it's a good thing he did. Next up, we have tag team action. We have Team Cartwheel consisting of Mago, Jack Cartwheel, and Aries taking on Team Gringo consisting of the members of Los Vipers, Latigo and Toxin taking on Gringo Loco. Man, I love Lucha Libre style wrestling. I basically grew up watching that as a kid, you know, watching CML and all that stuff. But what an amazing match. But in this case, it was, of course, Gringo Loco picked up the win on Aries, giving him the win, giving his team the win. Now, our next match, this is the first title defense by Jordan Oliver. As you know, he was crowned the brand new Jersey Championship Wrestling champion. He won that at the Jersey J Cup that took place recently. In a two-session, he faces Mance Warner, the Southern Psycho. This would put Jordan Oliver to the test, knowing that he's not dealing with a slouch. We're dealing with a guy who likes to see you bleed, who likes to beat you up, who likes to drink beer. That's the kind of guy he has to deal with. But no matter what he tried, it only took one cloud cutter to put him away and keep him down once and for all to retain the title. I thought it was amazing. I hope he has much title defenses. Now, our next match, we have Alley Catch versus Charles Mason. Now, their story has been dating back for months. Charles Mason has been literally stalking Alley Catch for many reasons, not to mention attacking her friend Effie, who's her fellow tag team partner known as Bussy. All it is that. However, this match was trying to determine this is a fair and square match, where, of course, nobody from the seconds are allowed to be in the ring. Drusy, consisting of Dark Sheik and Effie, who are mainly friends with Alley Catch, were banned to be from there, and so was Charles Mason's mercenaries, consistent of Slade and Perro. Now, the match was like so brutal. Basically, Charles Mason, he was making her bleed, using everything in his power to put her away, but nothing did. Alley Catch has had enough of him, but apparently Charles Mason is sadistic for what he does. But however, the referee was knocked down. That freaking bastard with the box showed up and attacked Alley Catch. But if knew this was gonna happen, Dark Sheik shows up for the helping hand, so did Peril, did Effie, but things did not go well for Alley. Apparently, once again, because the referee got in the way, got out, it gave Slade's Mason's mercenaries chance to make sure Mason wins. However, Alley Catch has had it, knowing that with these tricks. Now, the LA fan base did not like Alley Catch's decision, so she said that she wants a match with him on the on these on I don't remember what day, but it's gonna be a steel cage match. So this time, no outside interference. But the obvious thing is, will it be enough? Because Charles Mason will find a way to ensure it stays that way. But we'll find out soon enough when it happens. Next match, we have the GCW World Tag Team titles. We have the Bollywood Boys, Gurv and Harv, taking on our current champions, Los Macizos. Now, this is the first time these guys challenge for these titles, but you're dealing with a couple of guys that are good in death matches and or extreme style wrestling. You know, bringing out the chairs, bringing out the tables, bringing out the door, that sort of thing. Can these guys withstand? I have to say they did pretty well. However, they did attack them right after the bell rang, and presto, just like that. But it only took a spike driver by Miedo Extremo onto Harv for them to retain the titles. I thought it was a pretty good match. Hopefully, we see more of the Bollywood boys. Next match, we have Lio Rush coming out, and he had this mystery person by his side, and I didn't know who she was. And until MLJ, the ring announcer, revealed it was Jenna Frank. Now, those who don't know who Jenna Frank is, she is the daughter, the youngest child of the late Jason David Frank. You may know him as Tommy, the original Green Ranger. Uh, to put this on record, Jason David Frank, he is one of my favorite Rangers. I'm a big fan of him. I even met him a couple years back. I took a photo with him, but I was very saddened with his passing because I did not expect how this was going to happen. But I knew he had appeared, Jason David Frank has appeared in certain wrestling events in his native state of Texas, but I never pegged his daughter Jenna to be involved. Um, but one thing does was asking me a lot of questions. What is Jenna's relation with Lio Rush? Like, how did they met? I don't know, but I will talk more about that and see what I think. I don't know if Jenna Frank is going to be participating as a full-time wrestler because we do know she has a martial arts background, but we don't know yet. Hopefully something will come into light. But however, Lio Rush's opponent is none other than Commander, one of the best high flyers in the world. But I should have known better how this match was going to go because Jenna Frank distracted Commander, but it did give time for Lio Rush to pull off some moves, including a uh, kick that goes to the chest that was instructed by Jenna to Lio Rush to pull off, but it took only a frog splash for Lio Rush to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have Willie Mack taking on Blake Christian, the most hated person on the planet. As you know, Blake Christian, he doesn't give a damn what people think. He has changed his attitude because he felt that everything was not falling into play. But this match was pretty good. The obvious thing is, we know that Blake Christian has ways to try to find a way to sneak out. Keep in mind, the last the JCW event, the Jersey Cup, he attacked the referee Scarlett because he he tries to cheat his way through, but it did not work this time. So he, we know he got fined. But the real question is, will history repeat itself? It kind of did not because apparently the referee was out, and then once again Blake Christian applied a low blow to Willie Mack in order to win the match. But once again, he brought the steel chair, and take out Willie Mack, as once again proving what kind of an a-hole he is now. The most despicable person ever. But sooner or later, someone has to take him out. Don't know when. Now, our main event, we have the GCW World Title, consistent of Mike Bailey versus the King and the leader of the MDK, Nick Gage. I thought this match was crazy. I was more worried about Mike Bailey because we all know how crazy Nick Gage is. He brings out that pizza cutter. But it took every ounce of energy from Mike Bailey to put away Nick Gage, but nothing worked until Nick Gage applied a backbreaker when he picked him up for a chokeslam, and boom, it was right there over. 1, 2, 3. And as soon as it was over, he started his own post-match promo, talking about everything, how he feels for his gang. But however, we had a surprise visit from Masha Stamich. If you remember, she won the Do or Die Rumble, where you can decide what title match you want at any given time, at any given day. So she gave her mad respects to Nick Gage. Masha even said that she would like to challenge Nick Gage on the 17th of March for the GCW title. And of course, Nick Gage is not afraid to face anybody. It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters who, if it's a man or a woman. But we'll see what happens. So we'll see what it takes place. And I'm sure many fans are going to be excited for this match. So I think that's pretty much it right now for GCW. Let's move on with AEW Dark. Okay, our final review is AEW Dark Elevation. Open up with Fuego del Sol, the master of the Tornado DDT, taking on Rock Hard Juice Robinson. Now, we probably can guess that this match will fall in favor of Juice Robinson. It did. It kind of went that way as soon as Juice Robinson pulled Fuego del Sol's mask, putting him in that infamous DDT, inverted DDT, giving him the win. So that kind of was easy for him. Now our next match is the Ring of Honor World Women's Championship Eliminator match between Athena versus Evelyn something. I forgot her last name. However, they did talk about Yuka Sakazaki after that brutal event. She went back to Japan to get a medical evaluation after being attacked by Athena. We all know where she's at right now. She's currently at the Tokyo Dome, wrestling at the final event that features at the Tokyo Dome that features Keiji Muto's last match. So I thought it's kind of interesting. But however, Athena, being aggressive that she is, she put Evelyn in a crossface and went forcing her to tap. But once again, with the attitude, she decided to continue to beat on Evelyn and get in the face of the referee. But sooner or later, we probably can see Yuka Sakazaki challenge her for the ROH Women's Championship. There still hasn't had anybody who's challenged her just yet. Next up, we have the Firm, consistent of Lee Moriarty, Big Bill Morrissey, and of course that Weasel, of course being accompanied by that Weasel, Stokey Hathaway, taking on Zachzilla and what's his name, Warren Jackson. This match, you probably can guess, it falls in favor of the Firm when Big Bill applied a chokeslam onto Zachzilla. 1, 2, 3. It's over with that despicable grin of his. Next up, we have the ladies taking action. We got Emi Sakura teaming with Marina Shafir and Nyla Rose, along with Vicky Guerrero, taking on Madison Rayne, Leva Bates, and Willanango, being accompanied by Sky Blue. You probably can guess this match was going to go a very interesting way. One way or the other, Vicky tried to get involved. Sky Blue got herself in the mix, but she did give a super kick right onto Nyla Rose's face. But however, things did not go well. Apparently, things would have fallen to favor for Leva Bates until she blind tagged herself in, but she ended up in a beast bomb by Nyla Rose, giving them the win. Next up, Powerhouse Hobbs versus Sal Muscat. Well, you can guess this guy ended up in a spine buster, just like that. I don't need to tell you the rest. Next up, we got the Butcher, the Blade, Isaiah Cassidy, Matt Hardy, and Ethan Page taking on Dark Order, Silver, Reynolds, and Uno, teaming with the Best Friends. This match went chaotic in every aspect. The Butcher and the Blade were gone. Ethan Page decided to worry about Matt Hardy when he was taken out, leaving Isaiah Cassidy all by himself until he was pinned by Trent Beretta. Now, our main event, we have, of course, Ari Daivari and Tony Nese taking on the Lucha Brothers, who are pissed off after getting involved in their business. If you guys remember, they try to help, what's his name? Jay Briscoe until they try to take out Jay Briscoe, but luckily the Lucha Brothers got involved. But in this case, it took a series of super kicks all the time to take everyone out. But it was Penta who picked up the win by pinning Nese. I thought it was a pretty good match. And of course, Mark Sterling got his ass whooped too by the super kick. So I think that's pretty much it for AEW Dark Elevation. So let's move on with some news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. Now, this one had to be at the top of the pile because, as you know, we lost Jay Briscoe in a fatal car crash, but in the results, we were well aware that it was told that his daughters were there. But some good positive news on that front about his daughters. They're now being released from the hospital. There was a picture they posted them. They're both were in wheelchairs. There's like this metal thing on one of the youngest daughter. Forgot her name, but I know for a fact the girls will be having a long road of recovery, not only physically but emotionally. I mean, not to mention they lost their dad, who was a wonderful father, and I know it breaks my heart to see them that he's not there anymore. But I know deep down he'll be watching them. All we can do as fans to keep our prayers and thoughts to them, and hopefully they do recover from it. I know it will take a bit of time, so let's just keep doing that for them. I'm about to tear up. Damn it. But it's okay. It's okay to cry. Anyway, now, interesting news that came in from Stardom. Now, as you know, I mentioned a while back and countless times, the next showcase event, Volume 4, will take place on the 26th of this month. However, it's now been reported that they're saying that the showcase event will not be distributed as a pay per view, meaning if you're planning to watch the show on that particular day, on the 26th, apparently it's not going to be broadcast. They will put it up at a later timing or date. I'm not 100% sure on that. We know that these events are a little bit wacky, they tell different stories. I understand that, but that's how it is. It will be on the Stardom World, but we just gotta wait until they distribute. I can't wait to see it myself. Anyway, um, more information coming out. As you know, we still get more wrestlers who are going to participate in the first annual All Star Junior 2023 festival. Now, those who are new to the channel, you probably ask yourself, what the hell is that? It's an event that will bring together many of the junior heavyweight competitors. Those who are not familiar with junior heavyweight competitors, either the lightweight competitors, the cruiserweights, welterweights, middleweights, those types. And they just recently announced their next junior heavyweight competitor coming from Pro Wrestling Noah, and it's none other than Hayata. Hayata has been the GHC junior heavyweight champion on 3 occasions. Um, it's good that he's going to participate. I had a feeling that they could use him for that. So we'll just wait and see for that. Now, MLW has announced they have a brand new signee. This one, some of you may know her, some of you may not. We have Delmi Exo, who's just recently signed a deal with MLW. Now, those who aren't familiar with Delmi Exo, Delmi, along with her sister Ashley Voss, they are known as a tag team known as the Sea Stars. Uh, we know they made a big impact in MLW 2 years ago in 2021 when they went with the launch of the featherweight division. Now, we haven't seen Ashley Voss for quite some time. I don't know what Delmi Exo has been doing since then, but it's great that Delmi is doing something great for herself, and I'm sure she's going to be a wonderful asset for MLW. We'll just see what happens then. But however, I have not been seeing MLW since they went to the Reels channel. I've been unable to do that. I don't have that cable channel whatsoever, but we'll see from that. Now, interesting thing. Now, as you know, we've been covering about Kota Ibushi recently. Kota Ibushi said that if AEW gives him an offer, he wants to train the next generation of wrestlers in the performance center. So we haven't heard anything about that coming from WWE. But however, he has been talking to a particular group known as the Dark Puroresu Flowsion. They have been in constant communications with him for quite some time, and this is what he had to say. Apparently, they're saying that what are the terms of if AEW contract will be down for him. So this is a very reasonable one, according to says. In case of a contract with AEW, I would like to sign a contract with AEW that I will participate for about a week every month until a basic foundation, the dojo, is solidified. Now, those who are not familiarized with what it means, I'll tell you. He was talking about starting his own dojo in Japan. There's been talk about this for quite some time. So basically, he says that he could appear once, 1 week every month to participate in AEW. And I think that's a good solidified deal because not a lot of times wrestlers in AEW can be used. Some will be doing other things. Some can take time off. Unlike WWE, they use wrestlers constantly, but certain things have been changing since then. What else? Okay, WrestleCon is announced for 2 new guests, and you guys may be in luck. If you're big Braun Breaker fans, then you guys may know that his dad and uncle, Rick and Scott Steiner, the Steiner brothers, will be at WrestleCon. So I'm excited. I have met Scott Steiner at Comic Con a couple of years ago. Great guy. He was awesome. Too bad I did not take a picture with him, but I would love to take a picture with him. But it's a great guy. Now, Prestige Wrestling has announced for the hybrid moments that will take place on the later on the 26th of this month. Akira makes his return. Now, it's still no clear what his opponent is going to be, but I'm sure we'll get that sooner. Interesting announcement came in from Impact Wrestling for the Fallout After No Surrender on the 25th of March. We have Mike Bailey taking on Kenta. This is not the first time these two have fought, but I'm sure this is going to be one classic match between those two. Now, March Madnezz by JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, has announced for Alec Price to take on CPA. AAA has announced that Pagano will be going under medical surgery real soon. They are asking us to give our thoughts and prayers to him. Hopefully, he makes a speedy recovery. West Coast Pro has announced for their upcoming event on March 4th for West Coast Best Crow. There's going to be a Lucha Libre match consistent of Latigo and Toxin of Los Vipers teaming with Black Taurus to take on Rey Horus, Adames, and Viento. I think that's going to be a good match. Now, Fightful Select has reported a very interesting development that could relate to WWE. If you guys remember, the AOP were released from the company 2 years ago, and now it's been revealed that Paul Ellering, who played the manager, is now in negotiating for a new contract between the AOP and WWE. I think he's going to probably pull it through. I know many fans question why were they released, but we'll see what happens then. Now, interesting developments have been taking place. If you guys remember, Tony Khan went on Twitter and criticized Ariel Helwani for him showing up at the Elimination Chamber. Apparently, something just happened that was posted by Jonathan Coachman. If you guys remember him, he was a commentator for WWE for many years. He said this: one, Ariel is not allowed in the building for UFC events, and ESPN clearly didn't know when they hired him, which is why he's the only lasted one contract. Also, the mockery he makes of pro wrestling, like he could ever do it, not only upsets me, but a lot of people actually in the business. So basically, he might have pissed off some people in the wrestling business. We don't know much. I know that there's some people who may not like him. Some people know. If you guys remember, Ariel had to give out this. He did not get the answers they need regarding to Tony Khan about CM Punk, but that's how it is. So that's what I've been hearing. Now, some GCW updates for the Holy Smokes that takes place on the 4th of March. We have Hijo de Vikingo taking on Alex Zane. Oh man, it's been a while since I've seen him. Can't wait to see it. For our, if you guys remember, I mentioned when I reviewed GCW the middle of the night, Ali Catch has issued a challenge with Charles Mason in a steel cage match. That's going to take place on Ransom on the 5th of March. I'm looking forward to that. Then finally, Calvin Tankman makes his return to GCW for the Red Means Green on April 16th. So that's pretty much what we've been hearing. So, and as for our final update here, if you guys remember, we had this Yoshi committee group known as NOMADS, consistent of Yoshi wrestlers Mayu Hiki, Miyuka Takase, Rina Yamashita, and Surumi Natsu. It's been a while since we've seen these ladies do a NOMADS event. I wasn't sure when they'll bring it back, but they just announced for the next Freelance Summit Volume 3 to take place on the 14th of April, which is 2 months from now. They haven't announced who will be participating. However, in relations to NOMADS, it was now foretold that Jung Kiona will participate in this event. But however, something else has been come across. According to what Jung Kiona said, as soon as this event is over with NOMADS, she'll be taking an indefinite hiatus. Now, some of you may question, why would she go into indefinite hiatus? However, if you guys remember back in 2020, she injured herself that put her in a long stretch of not wrestling, which caused her to burn bridges between herself and Stardom officials. Remember, we did not know when Joan Kiona was going to go, if she was going to go back with Stardom, but she did state that she was leaving the promotion because she felt she burned some bridges, and it's understandable. But it did not stop her to continue to wrestle. She did some wrestling shows here in the U.S., some good matches. I loved it. It was amazing. And now she'll be participating in Japan. However, it was told that she will be participating at a Pro Wrestling Zero event on the 5th of March. But as soon as this event with Nomads is over, she'll be taking an indefinite hiatus. However, Nomads did mention they'll be doing a crowd funding project, basically to help out pay for Joan Kiona's medical bills, which I think is a nice thing for them to do because, she is one of them. She is an outcast, an outsider now because every freelancer, they're outcast. That's how it is. And they have to look out for each other. And as you remember, Joan Kiono did had a match with Mayuki and Tsurumi Natsu not too long ago at the Noah's final bye bye, Muda's final bye bye. So that's great to hear. So I think that's pretty much it for our news updates. Now it's time for our Stardom press conference. Okay, now as you know, there was a recent Stardom press conference involving the Triangle Derby finals. Now, four teams have made it to the semifinals so far. That is consistent with 7 Up, Prominence, Cosmic Angels, and God's Eye. Now, match number 1 in the semifinals, we have 7 Up versus Prominence. Now, Prominence were not in present, but I couldn't make out much of the what the translation was saying, but it looked more like Nana Takahashi was talking about her old days as a young wrestler, which is like hearing your grandma try to tell you when she was young. But nothing wrong with that. So the obvious thing is who will walk out as the victors between both of them? I don't know. Now our next match we do have is the Cosmic Angels. Saki was not present there. It was mostly Tam Nakano and Natsupoi. As you know, there's been friction between these two teams in every aspect. If you guys remember, Sudi traumatized Tam Nakano on 2 occasions. But however, they are designed to show mockery to Cosmic Angels with the way they act, the way they behave, the way they pose, that sort of thing. But the real question, who will walk out? Now, I know Tam and Natsupoi are no strangers in winning trios before. Before Natsupoi was a trio, was it would she has won the artist belts before with her previous unit, DDM, but this will be interesting. Now, as you know, there's going to be a special match involving on this particular day. We have Himeka versus uh, Chihiro Hashimoto. Now, some of you may question, why would Himeka want a match against the top competitor in Sendai Girls? Well, I did mention before there was some history between them. Now, Himeka and Sudi have met before. They had a match against her and Yu, uh, lost big time. So, however, she felt that she wants to right a wrong from her past. However, she may have called out one particular person, and she did this. Yan. I don't know if she's talking about Unagi, but if she did, I'm sure Nagi's gonna call her out one way or the other. Now, our next match that is announced is a title match. We have the high speed title between Starlight Kid and Azumi. Now, this match was supposed to take place about a month ago. However, because of what happened, half of the Stardom roster were sick. The match was canceled, but now it's on track. However, Saki Kashima did state that she will be challenging for the high speed. So basically, it will be who will walk out. Now, I look in this press conference. It's like Starlight Kid is not amused with this. I know she has other plans. I know she has challenged for the white belt on many occasions, but failed. I don't know if she still has that in heart, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. But however, as soon as this whole thing was done, when the thing with the high speed match, um, Azumi made a very interesting announcement. She has issued a challenge against Mercedes Moné for the IWGP Women's Championship. Now, those who don't know or do know, Mercedes Moné is formerly known as Sasha Banks. When Mercedes Moné first arrived at the Tokyo Dome back in January 4th, she actually talked about Azumi, but she called it AZM. I know for a fact people are saying it's Azumi. So basically, she looks at Azumi as a prodigy. So it's just like, let's see what you got, prodigy. That's how it is. However, we know that I'm sure that this match will take place. I wouldn't be surprised if this match takes place at one of Stardom's big events. The only time I would think it would be appropriate for this match to take place would be in April for the Grand Queensdom that takes place on Round. That's the only time. I think this is one of the most bigger events in Stardom. So that's what I'm thinking. Hopefully I'm wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. Moving on. We got the Wonder Stardom Championship. We got Azuki versus Saya Kamitani. If you remember, on the 17th, Azuki pinned Saya Kamitani for a shot of the white belt. If you keep in mind, Saya Kamitani has broke the defense record. Now, I know some of you are very critical or questioning, what about Mina? She should have been challenging for the belt. I agree. But there are those who are now saying, I would have different people. There are those who say maybe Mina should be the white belt champion at the second half of the year. I mean, that would be a possibility. Some of you say she probably will win the Cinderella tournament and challenge for the white belt. I mean, that is the strong possibility. I mean, that could lead up because we've seen in the last couple of years with the Cinderella tournament that they issued a challenge for that. But we'll see what happens. Now, our main event will be featuring the red belt, the World of Stardom Championship between Julia, our champion, versus Mayuhiki. Now, these two, this is a very interesting moment between them. Now, keep in mind, Julia is not afraid. She's tired of running from her past. But there is one person from her past that she never wanted to see, and that is Mayuhiki. Now, if you remember the story or not, Julia claims that Mayuhiki called her was saying stuff behind her back. Now, we cannot confirm if that was true. Mayuhiki never mentioned if that was true or not because she refused to talk about it. However, there was one thing that made more sense that Julia was curious about. Mayuhiki mentioned, I hate you and I hate Rossy Ogawa. Now, Julia understands, I know you hate me, but why Rossy Ogawa? It turns out that Mayuhiki feels that someone's been pulling strings over Julia's defection from Ice Ribbon to Stardom. Now, Rossy Ogawa claims that he had no recollection about anything like that, but Julia claims that, oh, I came here on my own merit. You know how I did it? By hurting people. Mayuhiki has a problem with Julia, like, oh, you are a bully, you want to hurt people. That's how it is, by getting what you want to be successful. Now, Mayuhiki is one of those wrestlers who doesn't need Stardom to become famous. She's already famous for what she does. She is one of the best Yoshi wrestlers that we know of, and I think that sets it all. But Julia says that once this match is over, she wants her gone. So Mayuhiki has no problem with that. But, the thing is this, Mayuhiki does have her issues towards her. Now, we haven't heard the side of Mayuhiki yet about her and how that she describes Julia back then. Hopefully there is something like that could tell us, but we'll find out. I think that's pretty much it, what we have for this particular part. Can't believe it was long, but let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, just recently found out we can watch the next Stardom show that took place on the 19th. And of course, as we speak, we got the latest Pro Wrestling Noah event. This will be the final event featuring Keiji Muto, the Pro Wrestling Genius. And that is something I'm looking forward to watch. And don't forget, since it is Tuesday Wrestling, we will be reviewing NWA Power, and we have AEW Dark and NXT. And of course, if there's any news updates, then there's that. But as soon as this is over, I'll be doing another Unagi Sayaka watch to follow up of what have transpired more on her interaction in All Japan Pro Wrestling, and of course her schedule. So stand by for that one as we speak. So I will be, but for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.